If I had my way, everything would be so nice. This world would be like Paris. No, it would be a paradise. No one would ever have to say, I'm gonna get my wish someday. All one would have to do is say, this is my order, if you may.
Welcome to another episode of the School Without Walls. I'm Antonio Hobbs, host and founder of this educational program. My guest is still Minister Janice Scott. Rather than talking with her about my venture to Cuba, we're going to talk about her book and philosophical perspectives regarding the book and life in general in the United States of America. The book, I suppose you perhaps can see it here, 3 Steps in Overcoming Trials and Tribulations. Minister Scott, what caused you to write this book? What happened in your life to cause you to write this particular book?
Well, Dr. Hobbs, I'm originally from a small town in Arkansas here, small town called Gould, and I've always had initiative into me to write, and because I've come through a lot of hard times and the things that I experienced growing up, God put it in me to write a book. And what better way than step out on my faith and write this book about my life experiences. It starts out with my personal information in my personal life, how I moved to Atlanta, Georgia in '97, the challenges that I encountered, and how I overcame them, and how I continue to overcome with my faith. And it ends up with everyday people. Anybody that's going through challenges, trying to be successful, my book is for them.
I see. Now, your challenges, did they start as an adult or did they start as a child?
Kind of like a high school, like a teenager, because coming up in Gould, you know, jobs was limited, things was limited, and you know, the negativity was real bad in Gould and the surrounding areas, and people always say, you know, you're having a hard time, you'll never be nothing, you'll never be successful. And when people tell me that, that's fuel to encourage me to do just the opposite. And so growing up in a little small town, I've chopped cotton, I've picked cotton, so I know what it is to work hard and become successful. And so I was aiming to prove the naysayers wrong. And so God had always had something in me, and it was time for it to come out of me.
Excellent, excellent. I think that idea would prove noteworthy that whenever somebody challenges you, you would encourage others to be like you.
Absolutely.
They challenge you so you can't do it, prove them wrong, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I can understand that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is there any specific something you would like to mention that happened in your life? It's up to you that you did overcome. If not, it's no problem.
One of the things, the challenges I had when I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, was I was working for this company, and it was in security, and I was working 12-hour shifts. Well, about 4 hours of the shift is work. The rest of the time is downtime. And so by me being a Christian, I would take my Bible to work every day. And so the supervisor, I didn't know this, he was atheist, and come to find out that he didn't want me reading the Bible, he didn't want me bringing the Bible. And he kind of challenged me on some things. And so I talk about it in my book, my personal experience that I had regarding that company and how I overcame the challenges and got a job with the U.S. Marshal. Now that company, 6 months later after he challenged me, went completely out of business. And so it's the overcoming, me standing on my faith, not wavering and not backing down because of a Christian.
That is excellent. Steps in overcoming trials and tribulations. For the benefit of young people, I'm pretty sure most of them know what a trial is, but how would you define tribulation? Is there a difference between trials and tribulations?
Yes, a trial is kind of like a temporary something that you go through. Tribulation seems like it never ends, and soon as you finish one, something else come, and you just seem like it just constantly continues. But you know, it seems like you're being bombarded with a amount of numerous things. But that's the difference. Trial is a short burst something. Tribulation, it seems like you're continuing and it'll never end.
Okay, that's a good definition. Long-term struggle, right?
Yes, sir.
Tribulations, trials and tribulations. And we are saying that there are certain things that they need to keep in mind. You have faith, grace. Talk to the young people about what faith is and what grace is.
Faith is you stepping out on what God has told you to do and what you believe God has told you to do. Grace is the opportunity to do it. When God speaks to you, however he speaks to you, I have a special gift of dreams and visions. So God would show me something in a dream, and then he would give me grace to do that. So say, for example, you're on a job, you're getting ready to go for a promotion. You pray about it. If it's God's will, he will give you the grace to get that promotion. And so faith is stepping out on things you cannot see, and grace is the ability to do it and get it done.
Excellent. I thought about a scripture where it says faith is the substance of things hoped for, right?
Yes, sir.
The evidence
of things not
unseen. And that's basically what you said. And grace, another definition, biblical definition of grace would be love, wouldn't it?
Yes, sir.
Love. It was grace.
Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. And you believe it. I heard one philosopher, you believe it, receive it, and receive it.
Receive it.
And that's, I guess, the way you see this.
Yes, sir.
The prophets, we have about another minute in this side of the session. I believe this is the prophets of reward. Is that what that is?
Yes, sir.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
The prophet's reward is salvation, the salvation of your soul, the saving of your soul. That's what the prophet reward is. It talks about the challenges, the steps, the journeys that we go through, the trials, the tribulations, but then the prophet's reward is the saving and the salvation of your soul.
All right, we're going to stop on that note, and we will be back in just a few minutes for 2 more sessions.
All right, I know this isn't any fun to talk about, but we should. Okay, so who's gonna do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice.
And I'll try to get the generator going without any gas.
Oh, let's not forget the cell phones, which probably won't work.
Right.
And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
Well, I think we couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Those of you who've just joined us, I'm Dr. Antonio Hobbs, host of this educational program called The School Without Walls. My guest today is Minister Janice Scott, who's the author of a book titled 3 Steps in Overcoming Trials and Tribulation. We discussed the book briefly. Could you tell us where we might purchase a copy of your book?
Yes, you can get a copy. It's virtually at every independent bookstore on the planet. Here in Arkansas, Ephesus Bookstore, and in Little Rock, Premier Arts Books. You can get it eBay, Walmart.com, Barnes & Nobles, Books A Million, and like I say, every bookstore on the planet is available.
Now, the publisher, who is the publisher? It's here somewhere. I hadn't looked at it.
Kudo Publishing down in Florida.
Okay.
Yes.
Also, I'd like to mention that Minister Janice grew up here in Gould. That's South
Yes,
Arkansas?
South. Yes.
And now you're residing in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yes, sir.
You want to tell us, are you employed? Are you a minister? Are you a pastor? What are you doing there?
I'm a minister, motivational speaker, and actress. I just spent 3 days on set last week with Tyler Perry. So I'm an actress, getting ready to do some things with the sunglasses, Ray-Ban, and really just enjoying life now.
I see. Now, what did you give the title of this show that you'll be in?
It's the haves and the have-nots and the pains.
You let me know when it comes out. I'd like to see you.
Will do.
I've
I will
seen him
do.
a lot. He's
Yes.
all of the shows that I've seen that him in are positive and good. He's the one that produced Mud Deer.
Yes,
wasn't it?
yes.
Yeah, that was his big one, wasn't it? Mud Deer?
That's where he got started.
Okay. All right. Being a minister and all, we've talked about my concern about the society in which we're living. I think we're living in a very chaotic period of history. And I'm very much concerned about the role that possibly women are playing in our society. And I've studied the Bible extensively, and I have my position on the roles of women, and I might get into that. But I want to ask you first, what, under God's economy, is there anything that our society is involving the woman in that's destructive to the society?
Well, there's a lot going on right now. I personally try to be a personal and a positive role model to young ladies and the youth of today coming up, because I don't see very many positive images out there now. And everybody talking about the millennials and the new generations of people and how they're basically doing their own thing. But from a biblical standpoint, the women in the Bible they had integrity. They let Esther led the country. So there are women that have strong positions in the Bible that led the country. But we have to, I think, need to get back to the basics.
But the majority of the women did not lead.
Yeah, the majority of the women did not lead.
Men were the leaders,
Yeah,
right?
men
And
were
they
the
worked
leaders.
with the men.
Right.
But it seemed to me today the majority of politicians are female.
Right.
And I'm inclined to think the majority of the leaders of our Western culture are women. And I think it's detrimental to the survival of the nation because of the nature of the two creatures, if you will.
Right.
Do you feel that male and female were placed on earth for the same purpose, or did they have different purposes?
They have, it's congruent, it's conjoined to each other. But because of the structure breakdown in our society today, women are at the forefront of everything. And some women have to be at the forefront because of the breakdown in the male-female structure, because of the breakdown of the husband, the male at home. A lot of parents now are single parents. A lot of women are having to do multiple jobs because of the breakdown again in the structure. And so it's almost like a forced situation. It shouldn't be, but it is.
What has caused this breakdown? You have any idea?
I think because, and that's just my personal opinion, but I think because men has lost their place. They have lost their position. They have lost their structure. And standing up, being the head of the household, they're leaving. They're leaving the household. And women are forced. I came from a single parent, and I'm doing exceptionally well. And a lot of things I had to kick in gear and do it myself. And I'm so glad I did, because I'm very successful. And I came from a small town, which proves that you can be successful and do certain things. But there's a mental and a structural breakdown because of the males not stepping up to their role.
So you agree that according to Scripture, God expects man to be in leadership.
Yes.
And he has been throughout the history of mankind, according to my training, up until about the last 50 or 60 years.
Right.
So if we want to try to fix this, then we got to find out what happened.
Right.
Now, do you believe in demonic spirits?
Oh, yes,
as
sir.
well as positive spirits?
Oh, yes, sir, absolutely.
So that moves me to the God of this world, according to the Bible. What is his name? The God,
Satan.
Satan. So I believe that Satan is really on his job.
He is.
Because it's not an accident,
Right.
in my opinion, that men are not taking the leadership role and
Right.
women are.
Right.
Because we can go back in the Bible when it came to what was it? Adam and Eve.
Right.
Eve had a role,
Right.
but Adam had the major role. And of course, you perhaps know the story quite well, and most people out there that go to church know the role. So I'll be brief. God gave the commandments to Adam.
Right.
Eve was innocent.
Right.
And as long as Eve was behaving according to the plan of God, Satan couldn't touch it.
Right. Absolutely.
But it seemed like she ventured out
Right.
into the garden alone, and then she was tricked by Satan.
Right.
So we're going to get ready to close on that, but that should be a lesson. Now let's come back after. What lesson should we learn as human beings from that particular story where Eve ventured out and then she ran into the spirit of Satan and he messed her up? Be back in just a few minutes.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Hey, I'm Tyler Perry. Do you know what hunger in America looks like? Well, it has many faces, and 15 million of those belong to children. Yet billions of pounds of food go to waste each year, and this is unacceptable. You can be a part of the solution. Join us in supporting the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks, which rescues our surplus foods and provides meals to many families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org today. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Those of you who have just joined us, I'm Dr. Antonio Hobbs, host and founder of this educational program called The School Without Walls. My guest today is Minister Janice Scott, originally from Google, but now she's residing in Atlanta, Georgia, and I understand she just told us that she's involved in a film, and we are looking forward to seeing that.
Thank you.
But right now we were talking about some of the serious problems we have in this country. Statistics states that women are in the majority, and of course women have a lot of influential power by their nature.
Right.
And I do believe that so many people in positions of power don't know what I'm talking about. They don't understand because they've been taught that we're the same. See, they're taught that for example, I won't call this person's name, there's a very popular young woman in America who was on a particular show, and in the course of her talking with this group, what she wanted to see empower women, empower little girls, to be engineers, to be doctors, to be lawyers. But one thing she never said, be mothers. You understand?
You're right.
And without mothers, everything is vain.
That's true.
And I think that woman was innocent, but I also believe that she's a victim of this culture in which she grew up in. And we need to help her because her nature is influential. God knew that, and that's why God ordained man to be leader and woman to be his helper, rather than woman to be the leader and the man be the helper. See, there's no governor there. So as we closed out the second segment, I was asking you to come up with, do you remember what I asked you to do? We were discussing women. Did you have anything in your mind?
No.
We were talking
I'm
about,
trying to remember.
we were talking about the fact that men are weak.
Right.
And we were talking about, there was a cause for it.
Right.
And the cause was satanic.
Right. Exactly.
So the
That's
question
right.
on the floor as we get ready to close today is there anything we can do? Are we lost? Is there hope? Is there no hope? That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, there's hope. There's
Now
always
let's
hope.
talk about hope.
Yeah.
Let's keep hope alive here. What is it that the religious body must do that I don't see them doing? For example, I don't mean any disrespect. I'm a minister myself, ordained. I have very little respect for pastors because I don't see them doing God's work. Most pastors that I know, they are preaching a beautiful message at 11 o'clock and stirring the crowd. But that's their day.
Right.
But that was not Christ's way.
Right.
So is there anything you might suggest out? That's where you can talk through that mic over there. Anything that the ministry, I believe there's no hope without the church.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
If the church is completely controlled by Satan, we can forget it.
Yeah, that's true.
Politicians can't do it.
That's true.
Like in Little Rock, they having 20-some people was shot
Yes.
last week.
Yes.
And I haven't seen I thought I saw about 2 preachers in the crowd.
Yeah.
Most of the folks are just citizens.
Yeah, right.
Out trying to do something without the spiritual leader.
Right.
So what is it that you want to recommend as we get ready to close out, that the church, the ministers, the pastors, see, we start with the pastor, not the layman.
Right.
He's the leader. What is it that he can do that he needs to change?
Well, I think we need to, and there again, it's just my personal opinion, but I think we need to stop trying to build images and build people. We need to stop trying to build images because everybody is trying to fit in to society. Everybody is trying to adjust. Everybody want to be liked. Everybody want to be a superstar instead of just being what God called you to be and put the word out plain. And I think in these times we're afraid that because it's hard to get people to come to church anyway, I think we're afraid that we may lose the congregation if we just flatline preach the Bible. So we're trying to bring something in that pacifies them to keep them coming.
Why is it that you don't think we want to lose them?
Well, for various reasons. A lot of them could be money reasons, a lot of them could be image building reasons, because we're trying to continue to build images and everybody wants the big church and everybody wants to be seen. And we're sometimes afraid because society is building everything around lawsuits. If you say too much, you'll get sued. If you do too much, you'll get sued. So now the church is being governmentalized. They're being put in this structure where you can't say certain things about certain people, certain groups. You have to keep it. And they're trying to compartmentalize
We got
everything.
3 minutes, so let me cut you off because I want to say this. You hit on something that I want to make sure that people are aware of. See, the church traditionally was the power of a community.
Right.
The church.
Right.
Over government.
Right.
And how did the government get control of the church?
I know.
It got control of the church by giving them that tax deduction.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Once they did that, then they bought the church.
Exactly.
Because the pastor can only say what the government wants him to say.
Yes, sir.
If he wants to keep his status.
Right, absolutely.
But he said, the heck with the status, and I'm working for God.
Right.
Then he would say what he's pleasing.
Right.
But that's one thing that's hurting the church.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's satanic.
Yeah, it is.
That comes straight out of hell.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not a part of God's plan at all that if you give to the church, then you lose your citizenship as a Christian.
Right.
So I want to make sure that the public knows that, and maybe we might do something about it. And another thing, are you aware that most of the people that attend church are women?
Yes, I'm very aware.
Most of them teach
Absolutely.
women. That's another satanic thing.
Absolutely.
See, Satan is on his job.
Yes.
And Satan does not work through spirit only.
Right.
It's like God does not work through spirit only. God works through people.
Right.
So Satan people are doing that job. And if we cannot get God's people to be strong enough, and we're going to conclude perhaps on this, the power is in the spirit.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Academic is fine.
Yeah.
But there is a power of God that teaches us.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We got 1 second. Say what you got on mind. 1 second. Glad to have you here.
I'm just glad to be here. Thank you so much, Dr. Hobbs. You've been excellent, and I appreciate you, and I admire you so much.
Well, you keep the faith.
Yes,
all
sir.
right? God bless you.
God bless you.
Okay.